Alentila Lumenomentielvo. Welcome to Tolkien on Tap. I'm TJ. Grab a drink and enjoy. Almian. Welcome to Tolkien on Tap. I have two returning guests today. I've got Jen Groves and George Young. How are you two doing tonight?
Fan-
Fabulous.
fantastic.
Good. What are we drinking tonight, everyone? George, what you sipping on? I see you drinking something over there.
This is a variation on our usual household Christmas cocktail, but I'm calling it the Red Sun Rising.
Nice.
It is.
Blood was spilled this night, huh?
Yeah, blood was spilled this night. This is gin and orange juice and cranberry and a little splash of Diet Sprite.
Nice. Very nice. Jen, what are you drinking tonight?
We're gonna call this the Garden of Gondor.
Ooh,
It is a homemade sangria. It is delicious.
you went to sangria route. Love it.
I
Yes.
did,
Nice.
yes, because I had a
You're
lot
smart.
of wine. So I was like, well, let's just do it. So,
Yeah, exactly. I guess I'm gonna have to make up a name for mine. We'll just call it Midivore. Even though it's not like a goldenish color. This is it's a mulled wine that I made.
so it's from Moria. I feel like dwarves are like mulled wine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does seem very
And also,
dwarvish.
this is what I didn't show you before we started recording. I have an entire gallon
Nice.
of it next to me.
Nice.
So
Oh, that's
basically, it's
amazing.
this gallon of sweet red wine. I was supposed to
Yum.
get port, but I couldn't find a gallon of port, so I just got a sweet red. And then I put some 2 cups of apple brandy in it, and then I put a
Nice.
half a cup of honey and 5 tea bags of mulling spices, and I put it in the crock pot for an hour. I'm sorry, 24 hours. I've been pre-gaming, by the way, so
Nice.
I'm
Hell yeah.
already
I
a
didn't as
little.
much as I was hoping to, but
I
No
specifically
worries.
didn't because I was like, if I do, it's gonna get crazy.
It's gonna
Too
get
fast.
crazy. All right, so before we hop in, a couple reminders. Anytime we say we do not have to drink for this part, anytime
gonna,
there's a
though.
fuck always syndiculo or singolo or eluthingo, we will drink like right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
When
Cheers to
Finrod,
that.
Finderato, Ingoldo, King of Narcostorando, the my beloved is mentioned, we drink. If Nelia Finway Maitimo Maidros is mentioned, we drink.
That
Mythros.
Oh, that's twice.
Maidros. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast where all we do is accidentally get into a round of accidentally forcing each other to drink.
Love it.
All right, I'm excited about this episode because tonight we are talking about the differences from the adaptations from The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Rings of Power, any iteration of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and the books. And George and Jen specifically wanted to talk about this. So I will give the floor to either of you. Feel free to run wild.
Great. Well, I think a fair way to do this, just to get the ball rolling, is just start with the question that I have been answering myself ad nauseum for months and months, which is, I guess I will pose to the two of you. What are your favorite adaptation changes, like stuff that's not from the book in any of the live action or cartoons or whatever, and anything?
Mhm.
What's something that got added that's not in the books that you just love or think is an improvement on what happens in the books?
Okay.
Boromir's speech to Aragorn as he's dying.
As he's dying. I think
Mhm.
really the whole thing surrounding Boromir's death, just the placement at the end of Fellowship
Yeah,
is
that's a good call
really
too.
poetic and
Mhm.
beautiful. I think Boromir shouldn't have to be redeemed because I won't go down that rabbit hole quite yet, but um but I think yeah, that speech is for sure one of them. My
Yeah.
number
Definitely.
one is very controversial.
Oh boy.
And this is also not me saying that I don't love my dear Glorfy boy, but I personally absolutely love the swap of Glorfindel and Arwen.
Yes.
I agree.
I am a big fan of making Arwen a more active participant in the story.
Yes.
I love seeing more of Aragorn and Arwen's relationship, like the little banter at the very beginning when like she like puts her sword on his chin
What's
and he just sort
this?
of like
A ranger, court of his god.
god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just sort of like rolls his eyes like, Arwen, you drama queen. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
couldn't you just couldn't pass it up, could you?
You know what else
And
is awesome about that is it mirrors what her grandmother Galadriel is actually going to do in the War of the Ring, and that's
mhm,
participate in the war. So it is nice because we don't get to see Galadriel really do anything.
Yeah.
So at least Arwen gets some sort of
yeah.
action.
Because it is like it is, and this is not a criticism, it's a dude heavy story.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
super dude heavy story. And
Yep.
I love the inclusion of a character ultimately as important as Arwen in the films. I think Liv Tyler was an absolutely perfect casting choice.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I just like I love it. I mean, we won't go off on the Lotro train tonight as much as I would probably like to,
Go
because
on the what train?
the Lord of the Rings online Lotro.
Oh, yeah.
But Lotro also makes Arwen like a very like active participant in the story. She's a huge badass. Like
Nice. Love it.
Arwen, as she is portrayed in the films and in Lord of the Rings Online, is the kind of elf maiden who makes sense for Aragorn to fall in love with.
Yeah.
So that's my number one, is like the all admittedly small changes made to Arwen's character.
That's a phenomenal choice. George, what about you?
Agreed. Ooh, so wait, TJ, what was your answer?
Boromir.
Oh, right. Yes, yes. So both of those would be the top of my list, which I love that because probably you've hit my number two and number three. Um, so probably my favorite is sort of some of the, I mean, I love so much about it, but Theoden's character arc is slightly shifted and
Mm,
restructured. But the
mhm,
biggest thing that I would say is not just good adaptation, but to me, just the best improvement is we see his mourning over his son.
Yeah.
mhm,
Whereas in the book, like it's just kind of a Theodred's death is just sort of a thing that happens among the list of many things that have happened in Rohan. And then like after everything's happened, after they're um confronting Saruman in the book, Theoden is so pissed that the captain of his guard died. And there's like a full paragraph from Theoden towards Saruman about how he killed the captain of his guard. Uh, and he fell in the Battle of the Hornburg. Whereas basically, like Saruman put a hit out on his son, killed him,
mhm.
basically deliberately killed him. And the book is a little bit kind of just glosses that over as like, oh yeah, things are bad in Rohan.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
just like and I'm sorry, what's his name? Bernard Hill?
Bernard Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, his acting is incredible.
I'll drink
Uh
to that.
Yep.
yeah,
I'll drink to that too.
yeah,
Cheers.
Bernard Hill. Yeah. Add that to the list.
Mm. I'm sorry. Elvis cheers is Elmian.
Elmian.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's probably top of my list, easy, both just because it's so good. For me, that one's a straight up like improvement over the books, not just a matter of good adaptation. Like that's something that when I read the books now, I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
miss that part.
Yeah. Do you think that's one of those things where Tolkien was like, that would have been such an incredibly private moment that maybe he
Mhm.
didn't even
That's
write about that?
very possible. Somebody who was orphaned at a relatively young age, like Tolkien
Right.
was. Like,
Hmm.
Yeah.
there is something to that too. Yeah, I don't mean, and it's one of
Also,
those.
like as a parent, like
Yeah.
Tolkien being a parent, like I'm sure
Yeah,
like Tolkien, I mean, the thought would have to cross your mind as you're writing this scene. Like think about like burying Christopher, like
Right.
yeah, and at least Christopher. I don't know if I don't remember the other kids at all.
John and Michael.
Thank you. Do they all
Buried Peter
three fight
Pan.
in World War II? I know Christopher
No,
did.
no, no.
Was
Because
it?
John was a priest. He's a member of the clergy.
Oh, sorry. Okay, but I know
Yep.
Christopher did.
Yes. Yes. I don't remember about Michael. I feel like he did, but I can't recall. Christopher did. but that's also because like the letters, there's like, I don't know, 20 to 40 letters just to Christopher while he's
Mhm.
in the war,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
adorable. Like
Yeah.
I love the relationship that those two had, at least through letters.
Same.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, no, I wasn't bringing that up like that. Maybe that, I was just thinking like I wonder why he didn't, and it's like just me rationalizing why it wouldn't have been in there.
No, I
But
mean, I
I
think
do agree that like for movie audiences, it
that
is a
makes
very
sense.
good, yeah, it is a very good thing that was included in there. And just the God, Bernard Hill really did do such a phenomenal job. The
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
He was incredible.
yeah, the like
so good.
the convulsing of his,
Oh.
the way he begins to cry
Mhm.
until he has to like put his forehead in his eye, like hold his face in his hands. It's just, oh, that
It's
was amazing.
It's pretty
so good.
visceral.
It is
Yeah,
really visceral. Yeah, you're right.
it's
You're right. I'm
so
gonna drink
good.
one more time to Bernard Hill.
Yeah, to Bernard
Yeah.
Hill.
To Bernard Hill.
And that kind of brings me to, because I have no idea how to structure this. I got a bunch of stuff to say. And I want to hear
This isn't
y'all's
my
opinions.
podcast tonight, everyone. George had an idea, and I was like,
No, no,
yes,
no.
This is
let's
George's
do it.
podcast
But
now.
like,
No, George had an idea, and I was like, yes, absolutely.
but since we're already talking about
Dropping things over here.
Theoden and changes with Theoden, to me, like I've heard only this year, but like apparently there are some people who have complaints about the way Theoden is characterized and some of the changes there. But to me, like I love the way the movies handle his arc because they kind of shift it in a way to me that like I don't know, I find very pleasing. Because in the movie, he's like literally under a spell.
Yeah, see, that's one of the few things that I'm like, I kind of
Uh,
wish it was just like he was so downtrodden because, like,
yeah,
if you think about it, he's a mirror image of Denethor, right?
yeah,
Minus the Palantir and like being on
right,
Gondor's,
yeah,
or I'm sorry, Mordor's doorstep. He's almost a mirror image of Denethor. I don't know why I almost just said Theodred. Um, like when you meet Theoden, he's like run down and like given up, and then he
yeah,
has this turnaround, and he become, honestly, I love the way it's described in the book. Like
yeah,
I can envision this like Bernard Hill, but like taller and far more like actually muscular, like King
yeah,
Boomy in Avatar: The Last Airbender
Yeah.
for some reason, but like with long blonde hair. Whereas Denethor is already that at the when you meet him, and he slowly
yeah,
descends into the hopelessness. Like it's a
yeah.
beautiful
Mhm.
mirror image of that.
No, yeah, that's absolutely, yeah, I completely agree. And like I'm not, I don't have a strong attachment necessarily to the like the being under the spell thing, except that it like it keeps the cool Gandalf moment
Yeah.
of him snapping
Yeah,
out of it.
and the memes, man.
Yeah, and
Like
the
Yeah,
just
the memes.
great
I
memes.
would
just
listen.
the
Those memes are
memes.
juicy. I
The
will
memes are
agree
so
to
good.
that.
But aside from that, like I honestly I love the shifting of the Battle of the Hornburg, Helm's Deep, because it is something different in the movies than the book, and this is what I enjoy. That I posted this on Threads a few months ago and got some agreement and got some people who very much disagreed. Um, but okay, in the book, so in the book, just a refresher for anybody listening who hasn't read the book, what happens is Gandalf convinces Theoden that they need to get to work and deal with Saruman, and he's like, "Oh yes, let's go, let's do it. Let's get Éomer, whom I put in prison earlier because I was, being manipulated, out of prison, and we'll all go and we'll go attack Saruman right now. There's General Erkenbrand is waiting with his forces, so we'll go do that." And then as they're on the way there, Erkenbrand's forces get beaten and scattered. And so they panic and they're like, oh, okay, we just need to, well, Helm's Deep is right here. The Hornburg is right here. Let's go in there. And so they do that. And then the battle commences. There's no elves, as many people will tell you.
Thank
Uh,
God.
um, but so the only people there at Helm's Deep are just active combatants. They're there to fight and had to pull back. And so Gandalf is like, hang on, I gotta go. And so then the battle commences, not terribly dissimilar from the movie. And then the hope that comes is Gandalf has gathered Erkenbrand's scattered forces. So you have a situation where no one is in danger except active soldiers. And the thing that comes to save them. Also, the Ents come sooner. That's important. But I'm skipping that. That's fair. But then Gandalf arrives with Erkenbrand, and his forces, who just got their asses kicked by these same orcs. Like, these same orcs are here, and now the thing saving the day. To me, I like the movie is a better, to use Tolkien's phrase, a better eucatastrophe. Because there are women and children and non-combatants hidden in Helm's Deep, and yes, it was Theoden's folly that he was scared and didn't know what to do, so he holes everybody up in Helm's Deep. Um, and then like Gandalf goes and helps him fix his mistake. He gets Éomer, and to me that feels more like a Tolkien-esque eucatastrophe. And part of this is just me. I'm thinking about stories and fantasy stories, and Tolkien
Mhm.
actually did fight in war. So probably to somebody who knows more, but the Erkenbrand thing, we don't meet him at all, ever, um, in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't have one line in the whole book. And to me, it adds to the emotion of the scene that and that's sort of where, and to me, that's where Theoden gets his moment that in the book is back when he talks to Gandalf, where he goes, "Oh, I'm the king. It is time to step forward and lead." And then he gets that big full moment. And then you get the growth and the decision and the battle, and then he dies valiantly in the Battle of Pelennor.
Right.
I don't know. I'm indifferent to oh, it was a spell by Saruman, but I kind of I love the shifting of Helm's Deep, and I love the offset of his character growth. Because to me, it feels the same as the book, but it's offset in a way that feels more dynamic. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I think on the subject of Helm's Deep, for me, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Huorns and how ultimately chasing the Uruk-hai into this forest of Huorns, and the Huorns actually do a lot of the work. Like I like that they included the Huorns in the extended edition because I think it's really important that they're there. And I think it's really important for everyone there to be like, yo, where'd this forest come from?
What?
It is the
Yeah.
coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But and it's the whole thing with Tolkien and the woods of Dunsinane and everything. But
Yeah.
I like that in the films they kind of made the victory ultimately belong to the Rohirrim.
Yeah.
And the Huarns were kind of like a cleanup
Right.
of the retreating forces. But
Yeah.
Éomer and Gandalf and several Eorids worth of Rohirrim showing up. And yes, also as someone for whom the Two Towers was it. That is what got me into Tolkien. The scene of Gandalf showing up, first light on the fifth day, look to the east, look to my coming, and and I have goosebumps just thinking about it, but Gimli just being like, the sun is rising, and you look out the window and you see Gandalf show up, and then you see Eomer right up next to him, and
Not
then they
alone.
all charge down this epic huge hill with Ben Del Maestro just singing so beautifully, and it's fucking epic as shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love that it makes it centers the Rohirrim as the victors of that
Yeah.
battle rather than
Mhm.
just oh yeah, we had the Horns take out most of these Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No shade to my girl Yavanna, but
As far as Helm's Deep, it's a mixed bag for me because I understand it's film. This is the hardest thing about adaptations for me.
Mm.
And sometimes it takes me years to come around to be like, I get it. It really,
No, I get that.
I'm such a fucking contrarian sometimes. Um, it's ridiculous. God. Anyways, I could do a whole episode of just me by myself talking about why I have a problem with adaptations. Anyways, oh wait, that's what this is, except I've got guests.
Great.
Except I'm not going to go into like what this is not going to turn into a hate fest. I love these films,
Yeah.
and I love Rings of Power, and I love all Tolkien.
Speak your mind, though.
adaptations.
Listen, well,
That's what I'm going to do.
Having negative opinions about something you love does not mean you don't love it.
Yeah, no, I
yes.
just wanted to
And
kind
I
of throw out a
think that's
disclaimer.
really, really important because I feel like as nerds, sometimes there is this concept that if we have, like, in some cases, very legitimate gripes about something, that we don't like it. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I will still like rapidly consume these adaptations and absolutely adore basically every second of it. That doesn't mean that I don't have complaints that I feel are valid. Like, you don't have to love everything about something to love it.
Right. I kind of just felt like I wanted to throw out a disclaimer, because I may get negative about these films that I love very much.
No,
I
great.
might
But
also.
it's because I've
I
watched
got
them.
negative stuff
Yeah.
to say
Because I have watched them, probably like both of you, watched them so many times for so many years, and then I have gone back and read the book and then watched the films and then read the books. Of course, I took a few years off of like reading the books and then only consumed the films, but then came back to the books and everything. But as far as Helm's Deep, and back to the Theoden thing, if you when you put Theoden under a spell, he's not in despair anymore. He's under a spell, and there's a huge theme in Lord of the Rings about overcoming despair. And Theoden doesn't overcome despair when Gandalf drives out Saruman, which kind of takes away from his arc. I love the memes from Gandalf. I see you, George. I see you. Hold on. Let me say this.
Please finish your thought.
Yeah.
I have a.
I mean, but if you want to, if you want to,
No,
like,
please
cut me,
finish your
like,
thought.
no, it's fine. No, honestly, like, I like when it goes like this. Like, I'll tangent and it's all good because like I will literally be like, no, hold on, let me this, and then my brain will go, oh, but this also. So feel free right now.
But we don't have ADHD. No, that's not a thing. But any of us suffer from.
I definitely haven't been diagnosed since 1991. This is where I disagree, and this is why I frame this as I don't think it's a change in his arc. I think it's a shifting on the timeline because while I agree, yes, the conversation and Gandalf being Gandalf stuff at Edoras is not where he gives up on despair. He comes out of the just absolute powerlessness and awakens into despair. He is awakened, becomes himself again, at which point in the movie, they don't go, let's go get Saruman. Theoden goes, oh my gosh. Saruman he's destroying everything. I can't protect everyone. Let's run and hide to Helm's Deep. He is still full of despair. He's brave and noble, but he is full of despair up until the moment. And I got some pushback. I like this. I got some pushback on this. And anyway, when I posted about this on Threads a while back, but he is absolutely in despair until it is Aragorn who pulls him out. They are feeling hopeless.
And that's the other thing I don't like. I don't like that it's Aragorn that does that.
Why?
Because Gandalf has Narya, which is there to kindle the hearts in a world grown cold, as said by Círdan the shipwright, or shipwright the shipwright, if you will.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, just like Legolas Greenleaf. He's Greenleaf.
Oh.
There's a name for that. There's a word for that. I can't remember right now. But see, I like, and I understand why they shifted it to Aragorn. And this is the nitpickiest like nerd thing that I could like.
Sure.
Narya has a purpose. Then Narya and Vilya and Nenya are all being used at this point in time because Sauron does not have the one. They are all able to use those rings to their full potential and be unencumbered by Sauron. And it is through Gandalf and through Gandalf's actions. And because honestly, the story is Gandalf's. Like the plot moves because of Gandalf. And people their hearts are kindled because of Gandalf. And it's one of those like nerd things that like it doesn't matter because like the films are still amazing.
Yeah.
But I kind of like I long for an adaptation where like Gandalf can be the impetus for a lot more things instead of just like, well, I told these hobbits they should go to Rivendell, and I convinced some people that maybe we should destroy this ring. Like, it would be cool if it was
Yeah.
more than that, because like he works so damn hard for fucking thousands of years to get. I just spit on my computer. I'm getting a little. I'm getting a little
Very
passionate.
Gandalf,
passionate.
I'm getting a little
Gandalf is
passionate.
important. Yeah.
Gandalf is so fucking important, and he kind of seems like for a lot of it he's relegated to, well, I'm gonna go talk to some people and I'll be right back, which he does do. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but like,
That's also Gandalf.
yeah, for sure. I mean, far more in The Hobbit, but
Yeah.
yeah. But it I don't know. It's just one of those things where it just like sometimes I just want the character to be the character. Like, I understand adaptation will have to change things. And I don't like I feel like I'm gonna do this a million times in this episode. Where I'm gonna say, like, I love these films. Like, I'm gonna throw the disclaimer out a million times, but I
Just like your constant disclaimers that you don't actually hate David and Lee.
I don't know what you're talking about, George. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, but exactly like that. So that's one thing about that is like I just wish that Gandalf had been shown, or at least implied to have been using Narya a little bit more.
Right.
And then also, as far as taking the refugees with him to Helm's Deep and not leaving Eowyn back at Edoras, I feel like that undercuts Eowyn a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Not
with
even
that.
a little bit. I feel like that undercuts Eowyn a lot of bit, because doing that sets up a big part of her story arc.
Yeah.
Which they then have to be like, all right, now we're gonna focus more on this Aragorn, like falling in love with Aragorn thing.
And so now there's that. Yeah. And for anybody listening who hasn't read the book, since I was already doing that, in the books, when they go to Helm's Deep, Theoden leaves her in charge of basically everything. He just takes the army and
well, he wants to leave.
and
He wants to
leaves
leave
her
Eomer in charge, and then
Yeah.
he goes, "Oh shit, I can't do that. I need him." And then he's like, I guess it's Eowyn. And then she's like, well, shit, why the fuck am I the one who's always left back? And you guys get to go ride to valor and death, you know? So that
And
sets
for
up a
those of you
huge
that haven't read the books, that is an exact Tolkien quote.
with the swearing and everything.
Yeah.
So it's two things that undercuts, which it doesn't necessarily change the outcome, which is how I can like reconcile why it was changed.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is not taking Eomer to Helm's Deep, so that Eomer and Aragorn can forge a relationship. You know, because they will both be kings of their respective kingdoms, and fucking Rohan is like super loyal to Gondor. That kind of, and that's another thing that it doesn't fucking matter because it's not thrown into the movies. It's a very like, if you know, you know type thing from reading, but like the Aragorn and Eomer's relationship in the book is so cool. Like it is cool that Theoden gets to ride out with Aragorn. It's like the king who will be and the king who is.
Well, that is what happens in the book. It's Theoden's idea instead of Aragorn's in the book.
Right, but he's riding out with Eomer as well. Like Eomer's there.
Oh yeah, Eomer's there too.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at is that just like taking away that relationship is a little, it's sad. It's not weird. It's sad because like, first of all, Carl Urban's amazing.
Agreed.
Yeah. And he's such a good Eomer. And just the relationship between Aragorn and Eomer should have been so much cooler. And again, it's just one of those things that like doesn't really change anything because the films are still amazing. What was the other thing? There was something else about although not having there does have that really cool like Theoden King stands alone, not alone. Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. I'll give him that.
I think it's also one of those things where, I mean, in a movie with a lot, I mean, in a story with a lot of different characters, I think you just have to simplify characters where you can. And I think combining Eomer and Erkenbrand is a pretty simple.
Or Gamling could have made that Gamling.
Yeah.
Or
Hama. Yeah.
Instead of killing him with the fucking wargs. God damn it, I hate that fucking scene.
Oh, I hate the wargs.
So dumb. Especially Legolas jumping onto that horse.
Dude, that's dope as shit. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't understand that. That's so cool. And how
it's so cool.
Yeah. I don't
It's
Yeah,
understand.
so
the
thank God it
criticism
was
of
in the
that one.
film and it has aged perfectly. You're right.
No,
It's
I don't
so
understand.
cool.
It looks cool. I don't know. I
It's
just
I do
cool.
remember being super excited as a kid, being like, "What the fuck? Really? Oh my God, that's awesome!" But now I'm like, I don't care. Just get on the fucking horse and go fight. The scene
But it
doesn't
was the
happen anyways.
fastest way. If you could physically do that,
If
that's
you
how
could
you get
if
on
you
a
were
horse.
physically capable of doing that without kicking
saying I
Gimli in the
wouldn't.
face.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I would 100% accidentally knock Gimli off the horse
100%,
while also
yeah.
not being able to hold on while I did it and also falling off.
Sure, yeah.
You just like overshoot it, just like woo.
I
Yeah,
accidentally
you land
knock
on the horse
Aragorn
next
off
to
his
you,
horse
yeah.
too. Just a chain reaction. We're going, and then everyone's down, and the orcs just stop and go, "What the
What?
fuck? Was that elf trying to like do something awesome, and then like he couldn't? Like, what the fuck? Did you guys see that shit? You know what? Fuck it. They're gonna die anyways. Leave them."
Here's because I feel like we're kind of near it. One of the things that has always interested me, and I think I've kind of put it together a little bit, is the Two Towers movie
Mhm.
both contains the most controversial changes from the book, but also tends to be held up as the best movie. A lot of people say it's their favorite of the trilogy.
The best.
New
Yeah, I don't agree with it too.
Return of the King, man.
Agreed.
What the fuck are people
Fellowship.
Although
The
smoking?
also
hell?
Fellowship.
What are y'all
I
smoking? Return
listen,
of the
Hold
King.
on,
I
hold
have
on, Jen.
never had
I gotta
like
kick you out of the meeting real quick, Jen.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Shut up.
I don't listen,
no, Return of the King's amazing. It's just not my top. My top is
Ugh.
Fellowship. Fellowship
I've-
feels the most like the book,
Mhm.
even though
Yeah,
it's
that's fair.
not, but
I would say that's interesting because it probably has the most
the
divergence.
second most change. Well, no, they
Um,
all have a lot of changes.
They all have a lot of changes. And the other thing too is that like and Peter Jackson specifically said this, they are not each movie is not an adaptation of the book that it shares its name with.
They're all
may-
three adaptations of the overall story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just the same way as Tolkien viewed the books. They
Right.
took the whole story and divided it up into three parts, gave the three parts the same three names, because let's be honest, nerds would have been super angry if they hadn't.
Dude, could you imagine if they did 6 movies though and did the original titles that Tolkien wanted? That'd be amazing.
That would have been great.
Mhm.
Sorry. That
But
was
the thing about
an
the thing
aside.
about the Two Towers that I've put together recently is there is like symmetry with everything going on. And like in the books as well, like the Fellowship is sort of at minimum the pebble that starts the avalanche of, the War of the Ring and
You
winning
mean the
war.
pebble that's dropped down the well?
Yeah. And in the movies, it's a boulder rather than a pebble. Like the
I've jumped
Fellowship.
down that well.
Oh,
Wait, can you really do that in real life?
In Lord of the Rings Online, yeah, you jump down that
Oh,
well.
okay.
nice. Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, what?
I'm not on your
Yeah.
level as far as Lord of the Rings games go, Jen. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not remotely.
Get on
My-
my level.
My nerdery has not reached that summit yet.
Oh, that's for another podcast episode.
Yeah, we'll do another episode.
All right, let me schedule that one.
Yeah. But the Two Towers especially has such clear like mirroring between each thing's happening. The Two Towers is specifically about the difference that the members of the Broken Fellowship are making. You have what Gandalf and then Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli are there too do for Theoden. You have what Merry
Yeah.
and Pippin do for the Ents.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you have what Sam and Frodo do for Faramir.
Were you about to throw up when you said that? Is that what that was?
No. Well, I was just bracing for the what's coming because I know the discussions about movie Faramir are often heated and
I am gripping the arms of my office chair.
Yeah, for those who are listening instead of watching, Jen is wearing a Faramir shirt.
Homemade
Yeah,
by my
homemade.
friends for my 33rd birthday.
I love that. So Jen, I feel like then you should. So having made that point, that like the Two Towers is a very tightly structured movie, is my point. In some ways that I enjoy, even if I love some of the changes, don't like some of the other changes, and I'm kind of indifferent to some. But I love it has such a clear structure of the good that the Broken Fellowship is doing wherever they go. But having said that, and also having dropped the F-bomb, Jen, I feel like with you wearing a shirt, wearing a Faramir shirt, I feel like I
Oh,
should
I got
turn it
the,
over to you.
I got this, George. Jen, you want to tell us why movie Faramir is so much better than book Faramir?
What the fuck?
I feel
all
like
right,
I feel like
I'm
we're gonna have a
out.
fun argument, but I want to hear all your Faramir thoughts.
Oh, I'm kidding. I did not mean to trigger you, Jen.
Fucking the worst character assassination that has ever occurred in any adaptation ever, 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 ever.
Oh, I got a counterpoint to that, but go on.
Yeah, same.
Not about Faramir specifically.
I mean,
Oh.
I just feel very strongly about Faramir. He is my most favorite character in, well, book Faramir is my favorite character in all of Tolkien's Legendarium, and perhaps actually, yeah, probably all of literature ever.
The whole Legendarium. Wow, nice. I did not know that.
Yeah. Finrod is my second. So
Well, Finrod mentioned drink.
Finrod.
I've never heard of Finrod before, by the way. I don't know who that is. You have to tell
yeah,
me
who the fuck is that?
He's the
You have to
dead
tell me
guy
who
at the
that is
beginning of
later.
Rings of Power.
He's that dead guy, yeah, with the soccer boy hair.
Oh, the guy with like that resting smolder face that picks up the boat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do seem alive for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not
back
gonna
to Faramir.
we're not
Anyway.
gonna talk about how yummy Will Fletcher is, but anyway.
No, I mean we can, but let's talk
We
about
can,
Faramir.
I said,
but not
listen,
right
we have
now.
time.
We
have
are
time.
going to. We will
we'll
be
put a pin
speaking
in
about
that.
On Rings of Power later.
Okay, so
Yes,
okay.
that's coming up.
For me, I also feel like this ties into what I feel like is a less serious, but also character assassination of Boromir. Because for me,
Oh, George's surprised face.
yeah, George's surprise face.
Surprise face emoji.
For me personally, Boromir is such like a good and valiant person that when Faramir hears that like what happened with Boromir, Faramir's like, if Boromir couldn't handle it, nope, no way. And you know, as someone who rapidly consumes the appendices, perhaps more often than I consume the films themselves, I'm talking about the film appendices. I also love the book appendices, but the film appendices, Kelly, the middle page, posted about it a couple days ago, and I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've watched the appendices more times than I've watched the movies. I can quote scenes from the appendices verbatim and often do, like, it's just a thing in our house. But when Philippa Boyens says, oh, I would not pick up this thing if it lay by the wayside, you've just stripped the ring of all its power. I'm like, no, the fuck you didn't. Like, Faramir understanding what the ring is and understanding that even Boromir couldn't resist its power. Boromir, who he looks up to immensely and considers to be this incredible friend and brother and comrade and person in general, like that to me shows Faramir's wisdom. And also to kind of tie into what you were saying, TJ, about like Gandalf and Gandalf's influence, like Faramir has a relationship with Mithrandir, and we know that from the books, and we know from Denethor calling him a wizard's pupil, which is about the worst insult I can imagine. It's not. I would love for someone to call me a wizard's pupil.
Right.
I just and for me, like just everything in Athelion and everything with that scene and you know the conversation that Sam and Frodo have with Faramir, and like Faramir being like, nope, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know if you have what I think you have. I just, nope, I don't even want to know, because I understand that if what you have is what I think you have, I just don't even want to, I don't even want to mess with it, because I understand how powerful this thing that I'm pretty sure you have is. And I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. And I think it also speaks to like Faramir's character in the books that Sam is so comfortable around Faramir that he kind of lets it slip, and Faramir's like, I said I didn't want to hear about it, but he doesn't get mad. But to me, the whole thing of Faramir and the Rangers of Ithilien capturing Frodo and Sam, taking them to fucking Osgiliath, is so much time that could be spent on other things from the book that aren't just total character assassination. Like, in my mind, like, Faramir not even wanting to see the ring, not even wanting to know that it is the ring, doesn't strip the ring of power.
No.
It shows Faramir's wisdom, and like I can understand, like, and this is also, disclaimer belatedly, like, I absolutely adore David Wenham's performance. Like, he is phenomenal, and I love him, and I love what he did with the script, and I don't put any of this on David. Put all of this on Philippa and Fran, because
Yeah.
I feel like saying, oh, you've just stripped the ring of all its power is a fundamental misunderstanding of Faramir as a character.
And the ring. I was just gonna, like, you have hit on something that I've talked about a lot when I talk about what they did to Faramir's character, because they fundamentally changed how the ring works. The ring is not fucking crack. I understand
Well, and that's the
why
whole
they
movie.
wanted
Yeah.
to yeah, I understand why they wanted to change it, because, like, movie audience dumb, which that's a whole different conversation. But it really is, like, I will tirade on that for a while, so I actually won't. But, like, movie audiences are not dumb. Like, it's not crack. And also, crack generally you have to try to get addicted to.
Yeah.
You don't just have to look at it and, like, oh shit, I saw it, I'm addicted. Like,
Well, it's
come
even
on.
so. It's important that Faramir doesn't want to see it too.
Well, but and the other thing that they
Um,
don't understand is the ring fundamentally acts on your own will, and it will eat away at it if you have a strong will, but it acts on your will. It matters. And Gandalf fucking says this in Shadow of the Past about Bilbo took the ring, and his ownership of the ring began with pity, and that's why it doesn't affect Bilbo the way it affected Gollum. Also, he points out that Gollum was already kind of a little shit, and that's
Gollum
why
was already kind of a little shit.
fair.
right.
That's fair.
And that's why Gollum ended up the way he ended up. And I mean, they, speaking of character assassination, they fucked up Isildur. Like, he's not brought into the fucking cracks of doom, and Elrond is like, "What? No,
Yeah.
motherfucker, right here, no, do it, no."
Speaking of character assassination, Elrond,
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah. I have
Elrond,
thoughts on all
Elrond
this.
and
Yeah.
Círdan,
the fuck?
yeah, Elrond and Círdan are like, hey,
Men are weak.
maybe you shouldn't.
Shut
Yeah,
the fuck up, Agent Smith. No, they're not.
motherfucker, didn't you raise one of these guys? And like, the guy that's gonna take the throne, that's like basically your son, which
Your son.
that's a whole other thing.
Whole other thing.
No. The thing I'm talking about is, like, that's your son. Oh wait, he's gonna marry your daughter.
Yeah.
But also,
They're thousands of years apart, and cousins.
this is relevant to the whole Elrond thing. But
Yeah.
fuck Eluthingal.
Oh yeah, fuck
Yep.
Eluthingal.
Cheers.
Cyndaculo. Elmian.
Elmian.
So if I can offer a little defense of movie Faramir,
Uh-oh.
a slight. This
See,
is.
I was
this is-
joking. George is over here about to, like, I think Jen's gonna attack you.
No.
No.
There's
I'm
more
here to
nuance.
listen.
Let me first of all let me lay out my credentials here. I also saw this opening night in the movie theater and left furious. But as I started, like, just last year, I did a whole series on Threads about, like, oh, movie improvements, and I came in so ready because I hadn't read the books in probably nearly 10 years. I came in so ready as I'm thinking about things and understanding the movie more. I came in so ready to have an insanely hot take that I liked it. But sure enough, when I got to the book passages about Faramir, he was just the best, and I loved it, and I do prefer that. But we are in movie Faramir makes sense for what movie Ring and movie Denethor are. And also, I think it be said, as you were saying about his performance being great, removing the books as source material and just viewing the movies by themselves, Faramir's a great character, and there's nothing wrong with it except where he lacks compared to the book.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh
feel-
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Before I ever read
Yeah.
the books, I mean, like Faramir has been my favorite character
Yeah.
since I was 11.
Yeah,
So
love it.
when I read the books, I was like,
He's even better. Yeah.
what the fuck,
Um,
Philippa Boyens? What
but
you do to my boy?
Here's the thing, and I think Philippa Boyens saying that in the appendices really, I think, fueled some fire here too, because there's a few things. So as TJ brought up, rather negatively,
I did.
it's less fun as the book. I didn't mean like you brought it up negatively. I mean like I may not like it as well as the books,
No, I
but
probably
in
did.
The Ring is different in the movie, and
Yeah.
this ties into so much. But so it is more clearly, because in the book, it's not. The ring is the main source of Sauron's power. Isildur, you should destroy it. It's, hey, your dad managed to kill this guy, and he's been doing this evil stuff. And so Isildur is like, oh, I'm going to keep this ring
As
as
a
a
weregild.
weregild, as a
Yeah.
reward for the fact that my father died.
And my
And my
brother.
brother, yes.
Yeah.
And Elrond and company are like, that's not a great idea.
Whoa,
Maybe
hey,
we
whoa,
should
whoa, whoa,
destroy
whoa.
it.
Let's put some respect on Círdan's name. It's
Well, I
specifically
couldn't remember.
named.
I couldn't. Yeah,
How dare
obviously,
you?
I am.
How
I am the
dare you?
ultimate.
Yeah, Círdan is like,
Círdan is. This is just an aside for, I guess, previous listeners of the pod. One of the main reasons that I have beef with, not really beef, and we've never talked about it at all, but with David's insistence that that everything be Quenya because Thingol sucks, which, yep.
Oh,
fuck
fuck,
you,
sing
Thingol.
culo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But so he wants to not use Sindarin because of that. But Círdan also is there, and so I'm just like, no, I'm
so
going to
he
keep using
doesn't.
Sindarin.
So as far as David's concerned, it's because like he doesn't have a problem with all the Sindar.
Yeah,
He has a problem with the Sindar of Lestonore, and I would be remiss if I didn't call it Lestonore for him.
sure, that's fair. And I'm just saying, he's great and very smart, and it hurts my brain.
Listen, the length of time it would have taken me had I not like engaged with him so heavily in the beginning, or not just in the beginning. I talked to him every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had I only talked to David like through posts here and there, I would have no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah,
Because like it's so funny when we're on like lives and shit. Because
Yeah,
he'll say so like they'll be talking about the Sindar from Lestonore Doriath. And if you're watching him, he rolls his eyes when he says it.
every time he uses
Sindar.
Sindarin.
It's
Anyway,
fantastic.
that's an aside. Just made me laugh.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, it's not this understood. Whereas like the movies make it clear, like Elendil gets killed by it, and it's Isildur removing the ring that defeats Sauron, and the ring is all of his power. Also in the Fellowship, there's an aside that for a certain period of time, Sauron thinks maybe the ring has been destroyed, which tells you we're in a different universe here. Because in the movies, it's very clear if we destroy this, he is for sure dead.
Right, which
Yeah.
they don't even know that
They
shit.
don't know that for sure.
Not
Yeah.
at that
That's just
point.
a freebie. Anyway, so that's the
Because like
universe.
I don't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure that in the book in the Lord of the Rings proper itself and in the appendices. I'm talking about like just that specific book, not like anything else that was written.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive, and I can't remember 100%. I'm about like 95 to 99% sure. I don't think that Círdan and Elrond say to destroy it. I think they're just like, I wouldn't take that. I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I don't
but-
remember. I also read it.
But yeah,
last year,
yeah,
but I don't remember that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway,
But as far as in the Lord of the Rings book, I'm pretty sure it's just like and Isildur took it for
Sure.
a
We don't
weregild,
think
and
that's
we
a good
counseled against
idea,
it. Yeah, because I
but
think
yeah.
I think in the
whatever
Council of
whatever their
Elrond,
advice was, it was
Elrond says Círdan and I
experience.
counseled against that.
Yeah.
I think is how
Mhm.
it's around
Yeah.
how it's worded. It's not
Anyway.
like, hey, we're gonna walk into the cracks of doom and then destroy
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna get all the way to Sammath Naur, and then we're gonna be like, never mind. But also, I mean, I think I do think that scene in Sammath Naur, like the flashback, effectively does prove Tolkien's ultimate point, which is that no one
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
destroy the ring. Like
Ag-
when you're
agreed.
in literal Samath Naur, like nobody, not even Frodo.
Yeah.
Yeah, except you have Elrond saying destroy it. Like it would have made sense if they weren't in Samath Naur and Elrond said it.
But
That's
I think
that's the
Tolkien's
thing,
point
'cause,
is
like,
if he
he's-
said, I can't do it for me, he would hand it to Elrond, and Elrond would be like,
Oh.
no, and I won't.
He
I
wouldn't
won't do
even be
that."
able to hand it over at that point.
Well, yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. But that's exactly the point. It's literally Tolkien has been very clear on this,
Yeah.
especially right there. Nobody could do it.
Nobody.
Right.
But anyway, that's
We went on
little
a
bit of
nice
an
tangent.
aside.
I like
So,
that
Yeah.
yeah,
tangent.
no, I love it. It's a good tangent. So this is, and that's also, this is a universe where the ring, specifically the ring's power, is known.
Mhm.
So like,
Mhm.
aside from that, I'm on my way to Faramir, I promise.
Oh yeah, we do have to circle back.
Yeah,
I trust
I
you.
promise I'm on the
I
way there.
trust you.
So that a little bit plays into Denethor,
Mhm.
whose character is, I argue, somewhat changed and pushed up. Other people argue very much changed.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much as people like to say, but
Yeah, because honestly, that's one that like was a surprise to me last year as I kind of dived back into Tolkien. I don't
Mhm.
remember that being a problem. Even like I said, when I watched the movies as what would I have been for Two Towers? I would have been 17.
I think the problem with Denethor that people have is it's like that's just his character instead of he's being driven crazy by the Palantir.
Yeah, there's no Palantir. That one bothers
the
me.
Palantir, which effectively like corrupted his grief.
Yeah.
Right. And also like it leaves out his wife, who
Yeah.
he loves
Yeah.
so much, that
Well, it's-
Faramir looks so much like, even though he acts much more like Denethor. Like there's things you just can't get across.
Yeah, and I feel like
And I
that would have
get
been
that.
hard as I thought about like, oh, how would you do book Denethor? I feel like I would have come to the same conclusion they did.
I would have
Which is
personally
he
liked
went
to have a little bit
crazy
more
like
of the
a year
Palantir.
earlier. Do what?
I would have I agree with you there. But I just would have preferred to have a little bit more of the Palantir.
I would have put the Palantir in, but I wouldn't have. I'm not
Because
hurt.
like it comes out of nowhere.
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean,
hurt-
he
yeah.
does insinuate
Yeah, that's the
when he
thing.
says, "Do you think the eyes of the White Tower are blind? I have seen more than you know."
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
He
lots of
insinuates, but
thinking,
that's
yeah.
one of those things where like dumb movie viewers aren't gonna put together that that's the Palantir.
See that
Like-
what that scene makes me feel like is there's definitely a scene on the cutting room floor of him like holding one.
This is
Just-
why Don Marshall, I asked Don about this last week, I think, or the week
Love him.
before. Yeah, Don's amazing. He hopped into one of my lives and I was like, "Hey Don, what's going on with second extended edition?" He was like, "Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna happen." I was like, "Damn it. I want that so bad."
Yeah.
Hey, Peter Jackson is on record saying for the 50-year anniversary. So,
All right.
Is he really?
because I want that fucking wedding scene. I know you shot it.
Yes.
I need it.
Yes.
Wait. When it's hey Jen, when it's shot, do I have permission to superimpose your face on Eowyn's?
Or Faramir's.
So they could be you marrying Faramir?
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
that's true.
I kind of already did marry Faramir. Well,
Nice.
Well,
my
fair enough.
husband's my husband's more of a Boromir, but you
Mm.
know,
Fair enough.
it's
Fair enough.
I don't. I mean, the thing is like I love Faramir, like, but he's like too perfect. I think he would make me feel bad about myself because he's too
Sure,
perfect.
that's fair.
This is probably why.
May I
Eowyn
offer you a
was at first,
compromise?
like, mm.
May I offer you a compromise? Movie Faramir. Sorry. Anyway, let me get to my point, and maybe
Jen's
before
face is
you
just like this fucking shit again.
before you hurt me. So Denethor, at least went crazy maybe a year earlier than he does in the books. We meet him already fairly crazy. But this is also a universe where he doesn't just want a kingly gift of some power. He specifically knows that the ring exists, the ring is a major source of power, and would be good. That's not clear in the book. He finds out that they have something and that Boromir wanted it, and he should have brought it to him, and that's a kingly gift. In the movies, Denethor knows about the ring and wants the ring. And here's
Yeah.
where Philippa Boyens...
Which is an interesting point. I don't mean to interrupt you, George,
Yeah,
but
no.
it's an interesting point because if Denethor knows and Denethor's using the Palantir and his will is not strong enough to contest that of Sauron's. Sauron would absolutely know where the fuck to look.
Well, he doesn't know where the ring is. He wants
He
it.
would,
He
but he
doesn't
would
know where
know,
it is.
but he would know like he would at least know that like
A Baggins from the Shire knows where it is.
no. He would
Sorry,
know.
that was unnecessarily sassy. Uh,
I wouldn't say unnecessarily. It was
okay.
sassy though.
It was a little sassy
Um,
though.
it means to me that like, oh shit, let's send some spies out to figure out what Gandalf and company have been doing. Denethor's talking to Gandalf and knows that Theoden's coming, so he's been to Rohan, so he can send people out to Rohan. I mean, there's so many ways that he could have 100% because of Denethor knowing figured out that the plan was to destroy the ring.
Yeah. But again, also maybe, probably not, but maybe the writers had that in mind with not showing him ever interact with a Palantir. So
Oh, maybe. That's a good point.
arguably,
That's a good point.
movie Denethor is just
Are you
crazy.
just here to play devil's advocate the whole time, George? Did
I
you
am.
did
I
you
am.
suggest this just so
I
you could play
think-
devil's
Yes.
advocate?
No, but
I mean-
I'm very excited about this particular point. But yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
I don't know.
I think
okay.
an interesting point with that also is the change in the films that the Council of Elrond is like a summoned
About it.
council.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, all of these people randomly happen to be in Rivendell at the same time. Maybe we should gather them together and talk about this.
I love how it's just a serendipitous thing that everyone shows
Yeah.
up in the book,
Mhm.
and they're just like, you know what? Could you do me a favor and can you grab everyone? We're gonna go in the meeting room.
We're gonna
And we
go.
I
yeah.
just here.
Quick-
do you
quick
need me to- do you need me to
huddle,
write it
quick
down?
huddle.
Here. I'm gonna write it down. Here's a scroll. Take it to. They don't get to keep that. You have to take it to the next person. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Pass
Do you
that
need my
along.
stamp on that? No. All right. All right.
And,
I just
like-
assume he's talking to Lindir.
That's
Always,
one of the things
always.
that nerdy that I love about Lord of the Rings Online. So in Lord of the Rings Online, spoilers, mild
Spoiler.
spoilers.
Oh, I'm not out of the
Um,
starting zone yet.
But it's actually one of the starting zones in which this
Okay.
happens. If you start in Swanfleet, which is the region that is between Enid Wyeth and Breeland, effectively, kind of southeast of Breeland and northwest of Enid Wyeth.
Wait. North of Enid Wyeth? Oh,
Like-
I'm thinking of Forward Wyeth. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Enid
Continue
Wyeth.
Continue on.
So you actually interact with Boromir as he is trying to find Rivendell, and he, like, you actually, like, your character travels with Boromir for a while as you
Nice.
are, like, because, like, depending on what, like, race you're playing, your character technically knows where Rivendell is, but you're like, nope, I'm not gonna tell him. But, like, he's because the Greenway goes through Swanfleet and Cardalon, and
Sure.
like you meet up with him in like basically the border between Swanfleet and Cardalon, and basically like he's like, well, I'm like you sort of like gain his trust after a while, and he's like, yeah, so I'm looking for this guy Elrond, because my brother and I both had the same dream and we want to talk to Elrond about it, but I don't know where I'm going. And you're just kind of like, but it's like, it's one of those things where it really does add to like the serendipity of Boromir joining
Yeah.
the Fellowship and being present for the Council of Elrond. And like, you know, you think about how Legolas is there because they're there to be like, yeah, so you know how we were keeping Gollum in prison? Well,
My
we
dad.
decided that we were going to take him out to let him get some fresh air, and we really wanted to let him climb a tree because he's just so, you know, he's just stuck in the dungeons all day, and
It's fucking
Some-
woodland elves.
some orcs maybe showed up and distracted his guards, and when the orcs were dispatched, Gollum was gone. So just FYI, you know, that
bad.
creature that Aragorn spent like years trying to find, yeah, he's gone.
At the same time, you got like Glowing and Gimli like, hey, by the way, Elrond, Have you heard from Baleen?
Have you heard from Pauline? We
Also,
haven't
by
heard
the
from him
way,
like 30 years. We
also
don't know
by
if
the-
he's alive
yeah.
or not.
Also, by the way, this dude who just really likes wearing black, I'm pretty sure he's from Mordor. Keeps coming offering me some like really sus jewelry, asking
Yeah.
for Baggins and Shire.
Mhm.
Is he here? Can we need to talk to him real
Can we
quick.
talk to him? Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, they want us to sell out Bilbo, and we're not gonna do that. So
Yeah.
he keeps offering us Durin's ring, and
Thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Jen, where can people find you if they want to keep talking with you about any Lord of the Rings content?
you can find me on Threads at Elvish_Groves, as well as Twitch. I stream Lord of the Rings online on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can also find me on Blue Sky at Elvish-Groves and Instagram and all those other fun places.
Perfect. George, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Blue Sky and Threads, and also Instagram and theoretically TikTok, but haven't done much yet. But you can find me at George and Such on any of those platforms. But I mostly am on Blue Sky and Threads at the moment. Hoping to be on TikTok, but we'll see.
Thank you both for being here. I really appreciate you both. Have a good night.
Absolutely.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Tolkien on Tap. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on any of my social medias. I'm on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok at @the_Neej. Namarie.